Lesson 14 Sunan and Nasā'ī. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma akhrijna min zulumatil wahm wa akrimna binuril fahm. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaab rahmatik wanshur alayna khazaina ulumik birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Welcome to Lesson 14, Sunan and Nasā'ī of Module 2, History of Hadith Compilations of the course on Hadith. In the previous lesson about Sunan at-Tirmidhi, we have learned that Sunan at-Tirmidhi by Muhammad ibn Isa at-Tirmidhi is considered the fourth most reliable from among the six major Sunni collections of Hadith, or what we call Ṣiḥāḥ Sittah. Tirmidhi was the first person to add the term Hasan, or good, to the two main classifications of Hadith then, that is Sahih, or authentic, and Da'if, or weak. He also engaged in a comparative study of jurisprudence, or Fiqhul Maqarin. Due to the broad extent of the sections, or abwab, and narrations in Sunan at-Tirmidhi, a group of hadith scholars is of the opinion that it is more appropriate to call it al-Jami' instead of Sunan. Sunan at-Tirmidhi contains 3,559 traditions, and a number of authorities such as Baghawi and Suyuti have written their own commentaries on it. Of the Ṣiḥāḥ Sittah, Sunan at-Tirmidhi is unique in the sense that after every tradition, the author expressed his rijal, fiqhul hadith, and diraya views. One of the salient features of this book is the section or bab on causes or reasons, ilal, in the concluding part, in which Tirmidhi enumerated his basis for narrating traditions. Biography of Nasā'ī. Abu Abdurrahman Ahmad ibn Shu'aib an-Nasā'ī was born in 215 after Hijrah in the city of Nasa, one of the cities of ancient Khurasan, located between Sarkhas, Marv, and Abyur, which is famous for fair temperature and greenery, and was founded during the Caliphate of Uthman ibn Affan at the hands of Abdullah ibn Amir through a capitulation. He commenced his intellectual life at the age of 15 and was first educated in Khurasan under Qutaybah ibn Sa'id. Then, for further learning, he traveled to Egypt, Iraq, and Sham, or Greater Syria, and afterward he stayed in Egypt, and following the promotion of his thoughts and works, his fame became known to all there. His other teachers and sheikhs in addition in hadith are as follows: Yahya ibn Musa, Hashim ibn Ammar, Ishaq ibn Rahuya or Rahwiya, Ali ibn Ja'far, and Amr ibn Falas. A group consisting of Abu Bashar ad-Dawlabi, Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi, Abu Ali al-Nayshaburi as his narrators and students is mentioned. Regarding Nasā'ī, it is said that he was always conscious of performing acts of worship and observing etiquettes and good practices while refraining from getting closer to the rulers. Apart from Sunan al-Kubrā and Sunan al-Saghir, literary works such as Kitabul Khasa'is, Fada'ilus Sahaba, and Du'afa wal Matrukin have been credited to him, although these books are no longer extant. Nasā'ī belonged to the Shafi'i madhab while having open inclination to the Prophet's family or Ahlul Bayt. As Nasā'ī himself has said, "When I entered Damascus and saw the people drifting away from Ali ibn Abi Talib, I wrote the book Khasa'is, which is about the merits of Ali." In spite of this, it must be noted that this matter only speaks about Khasa'is' love and sympathy for Hadrat Ali, and this does not mean at all following him as the Imam and guardian or Wali. According to historical accounts, after knowing Nasā'ī's writing up of the book Khasa'is, the people of Sham, the capital of the Umayyad dynasty, asked him to write about the merits of Muawiyah. But he said in reply to them, "What shall I write about a person about whom the Messenger of Allah said, 'May Allah not satiate the stomach of Muawiyah'?" Apart from hearing this statement, the people of Sham severely persecuted him and expelled him from the city. Following this incident, he became seriously ill and passed away in 303 after Hijrah and was buried between the hills of Safa and Marwa in Mecca. Some believe that he died in Ramlah and his body was transferred and buried in Palestine. But the first view is preferable. Because of this incident, he is called a Shaheed or martyr or the martyr. Nasā'ī has been admired by all Sunni Rijal scholars. Ibn Hajar says, "Without any doubt whatsoever, Nasā'ī is the leader and forerunner in Hadith." Ḥākim An-Naysaburi also says, "I heard Ali ibn Umar Hafiz saying, during his time, Abu Abdurrahman an-Nasā'ī was superior to all those whose names are mentioned in the field of Hadith." Also, Sabaki and Al-Dhahabi have regarded Nasā'ī's memory stronger than that of Muslim. Al-Dhahabi has thus stated, "In addition to understanding, decisive thinking, insight, scrutinizing the narrators, and elegance in writing, he is an ocean of knowledge, and those who are memorizing Hadith used to turn to him, and during his lifetime he had no equal in the field of Hadith." He also preferred Nasā'ī over Muslim, Abu Dawud, and Abu Isa at-Tirmidhi, believing that he must be considered equal and at par with Bukhari and Abu Zar'a. Regarding him, Abul Hasan Darqutni says, "Nasā'ī surpassed all muhaddithun of his time." In his opinion, during his time, Nasā'ī was the most learned in jurisprudence from among the sheikhs of Egypt and the most knowledgeable of them in the sciences of Hadith and Rijal. Nasā'ī lived at the time when, after Jami writing, a group of muhaddithun turned their attention to Sunan writing, that is, compiling jurisprudential traditions, such that prior to him, Abu Dawud wrote his Sunan book. First, he compiled a Sunanul Kubrā with the aim of collecting prophetic narrations about laws, ethics, and traditions. This book contains 12,000 chapters. He then presented it to the governor of Ramlah, who asked him, "Are all the narrations in the Sunan authentic?" Nasā'ī replied, "In this book I have collected authentic, good, and similar narrations." He requested Nasā'ī to separate the authentic narrations in it and compile another book. In this manner, the Sunan, whose original title was As-Sunan al-Mujtabā, the selected Sunan, and which is one of the 6 Sahihs, Ṣiḥāḥ Sittah, was compiled. As-Sunan al-Mujtabā is also called As-Sunan al-Saghir. As-Sunan al-Kubrā and As-Sunan al-Saghir have been narrated through Ibn Haywa, Ibn Ahmar, and Ibn Qasim, and Ibn Sunni, respectively. The following differences between As-Sunan al-Kubrā and As-Sunan al-Saghir can be noted. 1. 21 chapters or kutub in As-Sunan al-Kubrā are not included in As-Sunan al-Saghir. 2. In As-Sunan al-Kubrā, the channels or turuq and conformity, mutabi'at, have been indicated. Number 3. In As-Sunan al-Kubrā, the complete chain of transmission or sanad and text or matan of the traditions have been mentioned. Number 4. Some commentaries and explanations of narrations contained in As-Sunan al-Saghir are not included in As-Sunan al-Kubrā. And number 5. A number of traditions in As-Sunan al-Saghir are not included in As-Sunan al-Kubrā. Salient features. Among the unique salient features of As-Sunan al-Kubrā is its specific chapter or kitab called Khasa'is Ali, which is about the marriage of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali. Like other muhaddithun, Nasā'ī has enumerated the merits of Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali in Kitab Fadā'il al-Sahaba, chapter on the merits of the companions. But it is as if he felt this segment of the merits of Imam Ali was not sufficient for him and not duly reflecting his intellectual and spiritual position. As such, in a separate chapter, he has brought very touching narrations which reflect a number of secrets in Islamic history and the issue of caliphate, and which are not indicated in other Sahihs. Edited by Muhammad Hadi Amini, this chapter has been published as a separate book. Sunan an-Nasā'ī contains 5,769 narrations, and commentaries have been written about it. Among them is Jalaluddin as-Suyuti's Zuhrur Rabbi al-Mujtabā. Sunan an-Nasā'i's status as viewed by Sunni muhaddithun. Regarding Sunan an-Nasā'ī, Hafidh Abul Fadl ibn Tahir says, Sunan Abu Dawud and Sunan an-Nasā'ī have 3 parts. 1. Authentic traditions, which are also included in the other Sahih books. Number two, authentic traditions within the criteria set by Bukhari and Muslim. Number 3, traditions whose authenticity is not certain but are the basis of argument of everyone. Jalaluddin as-Suyuti. See Jalaluddin as-Suyuti, Zuhrur Rabbi al-Mujtabā. Abu Abdullah ibn Manda also says, the condition set by Nasā'ī as well as Abu Dawud is to bring the traditions of persons about whom there is no consensus on the rejection of their traditions. And in terms of continuity of the sanad, the hadith is authentic and not mursal. It is even said that there are many narrators whose narrations have been included by Abu Dawud and Tirmidhi, but Nasā'ī has refrained from mentioning their narrations. He has not even narrated the narrations of some narrators of the 2 Sahihs. For this reason, it is said that the conditions set by Nasā'ī are more difficult than those of Bukhari and Muslim. Nasā'ī himself is reported to have said, concerning the narrations about which I have doubt in my heart, I would perform istikhara, and once the result is unfavorable, I would refrain from including their narrations. By the way, we have mentioned before, by istikhara, we means consulting the Quran or the rosary beads to do or not to do a certain thing. Abu Abdullah al-Rashid says, in the field of Sunan, Nasa'i's book, that is As-Sunan al-Mujtabā, is the most novel book and has the best organization. His book has combined the style of Bukhari and Muslim and brought out valuable subjects on the flows of narrations. For this reason, Nasa'i's book is considered having the least number of weak or da'if and defective or majruh narrations after the books of Bukhari and Muslim. Nasā'ī himself has said, all narrations of the Sunan are authentic while some of them are ma'lul, having flaws. Although I have not explained their flaws, but the narrations in As-Sunan al-Mujtabā are authentic. Keeping in view of these admirations, Tajuddin as-Sabaki has included it among the 6 Sahih books, and prominent figures such as Abu Ali an-Naysaburi, Abu Ahmad ibn Uday, Abu al-Hasan Darqatni, Abu Abdullah Ḥākim an-Naysaburi, Ibn Manda, and others have labeled the book Sahih an-Nasā'ī, so much so that some scholars in the Maghrib have preferred Nasā'i's book over Sahih al-Bukhari. But what is the most prevalent standing given to Sunan an-Nasā'ī is that it is equal to Sunan Abu Dawud or next to it. Notwithstanding these words of admiration, Ibn Kathir believes that maj'ul and majhul as well as da'if, mu'allal and munkar narrations have been included in Sunan an-Nasā'ī. One of the points of criticism to Sunan an-Nasā'ī is the excessive repetition of narrations, something which is unique among the 6 Sahihs. For example, the narration on Niyyah, intention, has been repeated 16 times in his book. Nasa'i's style in presenting the narrations or ahadith. Nasa'i's style throughout the book, with the exception of a very few instances, is that after stating the title of the section or bab, he reflects the narrations of each section with the phrase akhbarna, he reported to us, or akhbarni, he reported to me, and mentions the isnad or the chains of transmission. And in limited cases, he gives comment on their weakness in the sanad or matan or text. Key points of the lesson. Among the authors of Ṣiḥāḥ Sittah, Nasā'ī is famous for his love of the Ahlul Bayt or the family of the Prophet. He wrote a book entitled Al-Khasā'is to prove the vastness of Hadrat Ali's merits and virtues. Because of his refusal to write a book on the alleged merits of Muawiyah, he was beaten by people of Sham, and this led to his attainment of martyrdom or shahada. Initially, Nasā'ī wrote a book entitled As-Sunan al-Kubrā, which contains 12,000 traditions. Then, upon the request of Ḥākim Ramlah, he separated the authentic or more authentic traditions and collected them in a book called As-Sunan al-Mujtabā. This book is considered the fifth of the Ṣiḥāḥ Sittah. For the Hadith narrators, Nasā'ī set conditions which are even stricter than those of Bukhari and Muslim. Repetition of traditions is considered one of the weaknesses of Sunan Nasā'ī, which has 5,769 traditions. Next meeting, we will deal with Sunan Ibn Majah, inshallah. For more similar lessons, subscribe to Wayfaring with Mansoor channel. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.